Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome to yet another episode on Little's Law YouTube channel. Today in this video, we are going to see about the general settings. So long back, we have discussed about two of the topics in general settings, and they are the HTTP recorder and the various settings that we have in the recorder and about the proxy. So under proxy, we have seen how to set up the proxy to connect to the applications and to connect to the real world when during the testing. So these are the two concepts. These are two areas which we have uh, seen in the previous videos. So today in our video, we are going to see about the browsers, the appearance, and the graphs. So we are going to discuss on these three topics today. So I welcome you all once again to the Little Slaw YouTube channel. So before we move on to the topic, I request everyone to subscribe to my channel, Little Slaw YouTube channel, and like the video and share the video with your friends and keep supporting. So let's dive into the video now. So to go to the preferences or to go to the general settings, we have various options, like we can go through the edit preferences or through share collaboration preferences or through recording preferences and tools, the results manager. So sorry, not the results manager, but help license management. So we have various options to go to the preferences or the general settings window. So now let's choose going through the edit and the preferences, and we have come to the general settings part. So now let's start with the first topic. So that's the browsers. So by default, we will have the Internet Explorer that is getting loaded as part of the browsers section in the Neoload. So as I told you, so we have the Internet Explorer by default, and any other browsers, something like the Google Chrome or the Mozilla Firefox, which we require to record the application. So we might or we need to add that. So let's see how to add a browser. So in the browser section, so we have three options. One is the add, the edit. The last one is the remove. So I'm removing this unwanted thing. So now we have three browsers already. So let me give a demo on how to add a browser. So click on the add button and name the browser, the name which we want, and the version. We can update that based on the installation file that we have selected. So under the path, we will need to go to the selected section or wherever we have installed it. So here under this, we will have the Google, and under the Google, we'll have the Chrome, and selecting the right application. And for now, I'm giving a name as Chrome Little's Law. So we can give the name or anything that we want. And if we want this particular browser to be loaded as the default browser, that is, every time when we want this browser to be loaded, we can choose this as the default browser and clicking on OK. So now we have added the browser and we have also made it as a default browser. I'm clicking on apply. Okay. So let us now check the browser whether it has been loaded into the browser section. So I'm clicking on the record button. So under the record button, we can see by default the browser that we have recently added to the browsers section have come. That is the Chrome's Little's Law. So in this way, we can add the browser and also we can make that as the default browser. And in any case, if we want to edit the browser, say for example, if we want to remove the browser from the section, or if you want to make any changes to the browser, so we can do that via the edit section. And next we have the appearance section. So the Neoload provides four different sets of look and feel. So one is the metal, and the next one is CDE, and the Windows is the default one that we are using now. So this is what we have now, is the Windows look and feel. And then we have the Windows Classic. So these are the four options we have, and this is just the appearance of the Neoload that we are using. So let's now move to the graphs. So under graphs, we have this granularity section, and we have different levels of granularity as well. We have, it starts from the highest to the high, then the standard, low, and the lowest. So what is the difference between the highest to the standard to the lowest? So let's see that. What does that differ? This granularity talks about the time interval between two plotted points on the same curve for a specific test duration. And this low granularity produces a more readable curve, whereas the high granularity produces a more accurate curve. And we can change with whatever the granularity we require, and the granularity number. So when we select the granularity to standard, so that granularity interval is around 10 seconds between each value that it's getting recorded. And if it is high, the difference or the interval between two data collection points is 5 seconds, and if it is highest, the value difference is 1 second. And the same way, if it is low, it is 20 seconds, and the lowest is 40 seconds. So that's the difference between the different level of granularity. So let's look that by an example. So for now, I'm starting with the highest. So highest will be 1 second of granularity, and we will run a test and we will see. Sorry, it's okay. I think there was some changes in the Windows. Yeah. So for graphs, you don't need to make any restart or something. It's only about the appearance. So if you make any changes in the appearance, you might need to restart the Neoload to view the difference. So for now, I'm selecting the highest level of graph granularity, which is 1 second. I'm applying it, clicking on OK, and I'm running a test now. So I have a population, I have a test here. I'm going to the runtime, and I'm running just for 5 minutes with 5 users to see how the granularity comes. So let's start the test now. So now we have the test completed and we have the results with us. So let's now see. So we can see now there were very close, or how to, it looks like more data that has been collected. So let's now see that by exporting the results in the CSV format and see how does it come. So let's open it in the documents section. So now we are in the documents part, and this is the data that we have got in the report. So let's now distribute these data so that we can find the time interval. So I'm clicking on data and text to columns, and we will separate them with the colon, with the semicolon, clicking on finish. So let's now choose, let's now go to the detailed view of it. So now we have got the values and we ran the test for 5 minutes. So let's once again check the test summary. So we ran the test exactly for 5 minutes and 1 second. And here we could see the values that are getting loaded. And these values are for each of these steps. So for each and every second, we could see there were data or there were response times that are recorded here. So for totally, we could see around 298 in number. So we have collected 298 number of occurrences or data. So let's now what we do is we will, so actually this, the selecting the highest will get us the more accurate value. So let's now go to the, but again, there is one more drawback. So it will actually collect more amount of data. And even if we see here, the size of the file is around 21 KB. That is, that too, it's for one script for just 5 minutes. So let's now change the settings to lowest and we will run another test for the same duration and we will see what kind of data or what amount of, okay, so okay, let's select the lowest and let's now run the test, the same test, no change for the same duration. So let's go to runtime and start the test with 5 users for 5 minutes. So let's see how does or what kind of results we could collect after the end of the results. Since we have selected lowest as the granularity. So first we have completed the second test with the lowest level of granularity. So first let's see the difference in the graph. The way both the graphs is being displayed. So this is the graph or the response time graph for the first test with the highest level of granularity. And here you can see the graph for the lowest level of granularity. So we can see how much curve or like how much data could bring this curve or how much amount of data has been collected. So let's now go to the graph part. So we will extract the graph and see how much amount of data that is being collected during the load test for the same duration. So now I'm giving it as 02 underscore lowest as the granularity level and I'm saving it. And let's now open and see how much data that has been collected in the lowest granularity. So here we have got the values or the values that we have collected for the lowest level of granularity, and the duration is again going to be, so this is the test that we have executed and which it is with the same 5 users and the duration is 5 minutes and the user is 5, but the number or the number of data that is being recorded is just 32. So that is the level of granularity or that is the level of interval that the data will get recorded. So that is the difference. So let's now run one last test with the standard setup and let's understand how much level of granularity will that bring to the record. So initially we have executed a test with highest and that has record saved more than 250 number of records, and then we ran a test again with lowest which has recorded around 32 records for the 5 minute load test, and now we are doing a test with the standard and let us see how much data will this standard gets recorded or how much data will it store to create the graph. So let's wait for a few more minutes to see the result. So now we have completed a, a load test with the standard level of granularity, and let us now see how much data it has created. Let's now go to the graph section, and here we can see the graph. Let's now extract the graph. I'm naming it as standard, and let's now open the result to see the granularity level. And even we can see the difference of the file size. The highest has 21 kilobyte, and the standard has 5, and the lowest has 3. And now we have opened, okay, so it's opening. So we have the standard, and here we have around 62 data, or 62 the level of metrics that we have collected. So this shows us the difference. So the objective of this particular settings in the preferences or in the general settings is, if we want to get more data, or if we want to get more insight into the response times or into any of the other graphs. So this granularity does not fit only for the response time. So this granularity will fit for all the graphs. So any graph that we have executed during the load test after we have make these changes will collect more number of data for the highest, and standard with the medium level of data to get to collect the data, to collect the log, and the lowest will collect the very less number of data. So which means standard will come with medium amount of data, and the highest will come with the more number of data, which can help us to read and understand the response times and various other metrics, and to study the application. So this is the difference. Again, if we are running if we are using this highest for any of the test that involves more number of users, then we might end up in the space issue, and even in fact it will make your Neoload to behave slowly. So in any case, if we really want to get more data, use the highest. Otherwise we can go with the standard. And in case if we want to run a real quick test and to know the load or the performance in a higher view, for that scenario we can use the lowest. So that's about the granularity of the graphs. And then we have our graph boards. So here we have three set of graph boards. So first we have copy all. So once the test ends, so far we have executed three tests. So after the test ends, so it will ask for a copying the runtime graph boards to the result section. So this is the default one. And in case if we want to make any change to it, so we can actually try it. So for now, let's try this copy all runtime graph boards to the results section, and I'm clicking apply, and let us do a real quick test and we will see how does it work. So I will change the settings, the test settings. I'm just running the test for just 15 seconds and we will see how does it work, and also the graph boards. So what kind of message does it give? So I'm just running a play and we'll wait for another 15 seconds and see what kind of message do we get, or what kind of response we get at the end of the test. So the test is getting initialized. The test is running real quick. The test is going to end now. Yeah, so the test is over. So now there were no any prompt, but what happened was we can see all the graphs here without asking us any questions that do we need to copy all these graphs, since these graphs were already as part of the runtime. So these graphs will automatically get loaded, or automatically they will get copied to the graph board. And let's now select the next preference, that is do not copy. And let's now another test and see what happens. I'm clicking on skip and I'm playing this test now. So in the previous test, the first one that we have executed, all the graph boards will get copied. And now I'm making do not make copy. So let's now see what kind of response do we get, or what kind of graph boards do we get copied. So now the test has started again. And let's wait for a few more seconds to get the test completed. So now the test has completed, and let's now go and go to the graph board. And again, here we are seeing again the same set of, okay. So this time we do not see any graph boards, and these are the graph boards that were copied in our previous test. So during this test, there were no graph boards that are copied. And in case if we want, we can actually create it from scratch. So we have identified now. So when we are selecting do not copy, so there were no graph boards that are getting copied. Let's again go to the last preference here. So the do not copy will not copy any of the graph boards, any of the runtime graph boards to the results section. And now prompt to copy. So this prompt to copy will ask us whether to copy the boards, whether to copy the graphs at the end of the test. So let's now see it in another few seconds. So now we have got the prompt. So that is the prompt is asking us to whether to copy the runtime graph boards to the results section. If we select do not copy, so none of the graphs will get copied to the results section. And if we select copy, so automatically these boards will get copied to the results section. So now if we are going to the graph boards, see, so this was the previous one, and this was the graph boards that were copied to the result section. So far we have seen two sections. One is the granularity, and the next one is the graph boards, and the third one is runtime graphs history in sliding window mode. So here during our test we will be seeing the sliding mode window. That is, when we run a test, we will see this sliding window during the test. So we normally have a 10-minute window, and in case if we want to increase or if we want to decrease the sliding window, so we can increase and decrease it. So let me now show a 5-minute sliding window, and I will show you how it will look. And to do that, I will need to increase the think time. This is just, I'll just start the test and I will show you how the window looks. So here the test is getting started, and I will show you what is the sliding window, or how much duration does it shows us. So the test is getting initialized. So if we go to the runtime board, so from here, that is from the starting to the ending, it will show us only a 5 minute window. So that is 56, 57 the second minute, 58 the third, 59 the fourth, and 01 is the fifth. So totally a 5 minute window will be showed to us. If in case we want to increase it, so let me give a demo on that part. I will increase the time window. Let's don't copy it, and going to the preferences. So for now, I'm changing it to do not copy. So these do not copy, you can use it whenever you are running any smoke test, and if you are running any test to do a soak test or any other test which you really do not need to copy the graph. So you can actually choose this do not copy or copy all. In fact, if you do not want to get this prompt again every time. So now I'm increasing the window more to 30 minutes, and we will now see how does it shows. So I'm playing another test now. So initially we saw a test for a sliding window of 5 minutes, and this is going to be 30 minutes. And let's see how does it shows once the test started. So now we have started the test, and we'll go to the runtime graph, and here we can see for a 30 minutes window, that is 35 to 40. 30 to 40 is 10 minutes, and 40 to 50 is another 10 minutes, and 50 to the 00 is 30 minutes. So this shows us the full time window, that is a sliding window of 30 minutes. And once the test gets started, automatically the sliding window moves, so the last 30-minute result can be viewed. So that is the use, and that's the purpose of making this change. And in case if we want to view a result for the 1 hour, if we in case if we are running a soak test for 8 hours, and if we want to view for the last 1 hour, we can easily choose this option. And the maximum option that we can choose is 60 minutes, that is 1 hour, and the minimum is 5 minutes. And the next one is we have the update granularity when zooming. So this will actually help us in analyzing the graph. So whenever we zoom the graph, we can we can update the granularity and see how does it work. So first, in some case, if we want to increase it, so this will so by doing this we can even actually see the full level of data. So that is the purpose of choosing this final option, that is updating granularity when zooming. So far we have seen about the browsers, how to add, edit, remove, and then the appearance of the Neoload tool. And then finally we have seen about the graphs, where we have selected three different level of granularity, which is the highest, which recorded more number of data with less number of interval. And then we have the standard, which has the medium level of data that is getting collected with medium level of granularity, with medium level of interval, and then the lowest with highest level of interval and lowest number of data. So all these tests we can, all these granularity we can select for each level of test. Say for example, if we are running a soak test, we can choose the lowest, where and if you are running a load test, we can choose the standard. And if we really want to need more information on the application, we can choose the highest. So that is the level of granularity part. And then we saw about the graph boards, where there are three options. One is to copy all the runtime graph boards to the result section, and do not copy the runtime graph boards to the result section. And the last one is prompting for the copying, whether do copy or do not copy. And then we have C, the sliding window mode, which starts from 5 minutes to 30 minutes. So we have seen two examples with 5 minutes and 30 minutes. And then finally we end up with updating the granularity when zooming. So these are the options we have, and we can effectively use this in our test so that we can save our time and more space, and we can also improve and effectively use the Neoload. So with that we come to an end, and thanks everyone for watching. If in case you have any queries, please do comment, and you can reach me on vasantTCE@gmail.com. Thank you so much. We'll meet in another interesting video. Till then, it's bye bye from Vasant Shanmugam, Little Slaw YouTube channel.